Great day to you and welcome to the program. On Press Hour, without suppressing our emotions, we let our good sense lead our ideas and discussions. After the Kumba school massacre, the whole world joined Cameroun to condemn the gruesome killings of children seeking knowledge. And the chorus was never, never again. As if enough was not enough, and in defiance, within less than 2 weeks, several other attacks, kidnappings and killings have been carried out in succession. Attack of a school in Limbe, kidnapping of 11 teachers in Kumbu, kidnapping of Christian Cardinal Tumi, an abomination, kidnapping of the fun so a traditional ruler, that is unheard of, and the cold-blooded murder of a traditional ruler of Liwola Malali village in Fako division. What is happening? That is what we are asking, and the topic we are treating to look at the way out of that problem is defiant separatists. What's the way out? We have another topic. The topic is administrative tolerance. Tolerance more good or bad or harm in Cameroon. We are going to discuss these two topics that are as topical as you can see, with a full house panel beginning from the extreme right. We have Ayang McDonald from the Insider newspaper. Welcome to the program.
Thanks a lot, Killian. Good afternoon to the viewers, and it's a pleasure to be on the panel.
Just next to you, closest to me, to my right, is Professor Daniel Abwa. He's an ace historian and political scientist, known to all of us. It's our honor to have you, Prof.
Thank you to have invited me.
Yes, it's our honor. We have Barrister Calvin Ta Ndango. He's a barrister at law and solicitor. Thank you, Barrister, for coming.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, we have a colleague also from the Guardian Post newspaper. He's a desk editor, Solomon Tembang. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I'm elated to be here to chip in my contribution towards resolving the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region.
Welcome. And we're going to start the program as usual with the week in review in our regular slot. We call it Press Review, done for us as usual by Emmanuel Avemnui, who is just back from an annual leave, deserved annual leave. Manuela?
Cameroonian newspapers are yet to get over reporting on the shocking murder of school children in Kumba last October 24. Cameroon Tribune publishes the grief of the entire nation, writing Kumba forever. Then the post-weekender sees Fako on red alert after hoodlums attack schools, strip teachers, students naked. Before reporting that during Kumba massacre funerals, clergy slammed government hypocrisy over unending Anglophone crisis. The Sun confirms schools under attack. It cites the Kumba massacre, the kidnapping of students and teachers in PS Kumbu, and Fundong on the incident in Limbe. The Guardian Post thinks government should step up security or shut schools in Northwest, Southwest. To the Post, after national mourning, outpouring time to end the war, especially as international rights groups want UN intervention on the Eden. Then Human Rights Watch strikes government for reckless declarations on the Kumba school massacre on the Guardian Post, as agro-industrialist Peter Ngufo begs Biya to stop armed conflict in the Northwest and Southwest regions on Newswatch. Then, as chiefs nationwide pour libation at Boya Reunification Monument to end Anglophone crises on the horizon, Christian Cardinal Tumi and the Fononso are kidnapped by separatists in Baba on the Guardian Post. Coming after Cabral Libi proposed that a state of emergency be declared in the Northwest and Southwest regions on the horizon, provoking many. Minister Paula Tanganji rules out state of emergency option on the Guardian Post. Before the paper further reports that UN varsity study reveals confederation, consociation as solution to Anglophone crisis. Then there is an ugly twist in the tussle over Kumba City top job on the Guardian Post as embattled Nkelengo heads for court on the median, then loses first legal battle against Mwanu on the Garden Post. Government then warns against the non-adherence to barrier measures against COVID-19 by Cameroonians on Cameroun Tribune. At a time, government abandons Boya COVID-19 center after wind disaster on the Post newspaper. Even though battle against COVID-19 continues, with religious leaders converging for interfaith prayers. The banning of 17 clandestine money investment schemes by Finance Minister, the preparation of the 2021 state budget, the new dawn for councils with the election of the National Bureau of the United Councils and Cities of Cameroon, CAF's delegation's visit to inspect sporting infrastructure in Cameroon, and the dissolving of the Professional Football League by Fecafoot also form stories reported by the papers this week. Let's now end our press review with the story on the Post newspaper, where mass arrests in Boya now constitute a well-fashioned military extortion machinery. According to Andrew Nsosaka of the Post newspaper, denizens of Boya and other surrounding communities are now faced with mass arrests generally referred to as kale-kale. He says whether accused of a crime or not, such mass arrest victims are treated the same way under the guise of fishing out separatist fighters. Victims are then subjected to bribe their way out, if not they remain to languish in police and gendarmerie cells. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
And we look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Emanuela, thank you for the press review. Prof, we have listened, we have watched what the newspaper said. We have already set the pace. The topic is defiant separatists. What's the way out of the crisis that is already getting too much for everyone in the country and around the world? As a historian, how do we look at such gruesome kidnappings, killing, crisis that we don't know the in and the out?
Yeah, this is not the first time that Cameroon is facing this type of situation. During our period of independence, we had some separatists also who wanted to, they were saying that the independence we are getting is not formal. It was not a real independence, that they should have a better independence. They took arms against the government at that time. And this lasts for more than 10 years. It was from 1955, you can go till 1971. And the killing were also within the country, but they didn't go as far as what we've seen today, where you have kids be killed, you have school burned. It was not at that level.
Traditional rulers kidnapped and killed?
That's one also were done at that time. The traditional rulers were kidnapped, the priests were arrested, but the killing of those people was not as often that what we see today. The government at that time had, let's say, this opportunity of taking position, strong position, because they were somewhere accompanied by Westerners. The former colonial master were still with the government, and they did a lot. The state of emergency that they are acting now were already put in court. At that time? At that time, and yes. Everyone, we have places here in Cameroon where there were emergencies in many regions in Cameroon at that time.
Yes. We're going to continue. Probably you tell us exactly the state of emergency helped at the time. You're also saying that the context has changed, but we don't know how it's going to be. But historically, you have situated us that it's not the first time. McDonald, after Kumba massacre, we said never, never again. And it's as if the separatists who are responsible for this, for what we know officially, were provoked, and they have gone defiant, in defiance of the warnings and what is on the ground. How do you appreciate such kidnappings and killings, what we can call serial kidnappings and killings?
Well, it's really, really unfortunate what is happening. It's unfortunate that we have arrived at a point in this whole crisis where things are becoming very, very complicated, very, very complex to even understand. After Kumba, one would have expected that probably there would be a recess, I should say, in the activities of these separatists. But unfortunately, they followed up with a series of kidnappings and other activities that have really, really put the nation as a whole on edge. And I think it's really despicable kidnapping a man of God. The Bible itself says that touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. He was kidnapped as frail and at 90. His age at 90.
Yes.
Frail physically.
Carried along.
He was held overnight, yes, and then taken alongside a traditional ruler.
Yes,
I think it's really, really sacrilegious.
Yes, talking about traditional ruler, barrister, we have not known. Prof says it used to happen, but what we know about our traditional rulers, custodians of history, they are sacred beings. How do you do this to them?
We feel it is really disheartening that such is happening at a time like this. And I was shocked, particularly when it was happening in the Northwest region, where we respect the funds and the institutions so much so that we don't even greet the funds with their hand, talk less or even touching the fund.
That's why I describe them as sacred, as we know them.
If people go to the extent of touching the fund, touching the man of God, and even killing, because I'm unable to actually situate where Cameroonians learn this from. I don't know whether it is in school or it is in church, or I don't know where we learn how to be this wicked and to overlook certain principles of life. Somebody at the age of 90 who's on a wheelchair, you kidnap that person and you talk of an arrest. I'm happy when we start seeing images on social media, how they interview them. Such a person should not be exposed to
the public that way.
I think that we should not end at the level of condemning. That is my problem with all what is happening. From what happened in Kumba, from the beginning of the academic year, the government made Cameroonians to understand that the atmosphere is that good for schools to start. We thought that maybe they were going to put military people in schools. We thought that they were going to take measures. But from what happened in Kumba, people enter the school, kill, and left. Meaning that the government is doing little or nothing to
not little or nothing. Let us also say, I spoke with some government officials. They said this happened on Saturday. Even if there were catch-up classes, it happened on Saturday. And you are supposed to know whether these people who organize classes on Saturday actually alerted the officials. We are not justifying anything, but it's good that we situate. We actually look at the context that it happened on Saturday. It's not like saying that during the week all schools are secured. We are saying killings, Solomon, are condemned to the point that they kill the traditional ruler, not only kidnapping of Malale village in Fako division.
Yes, Killian, before I begin, I would say that this crisis has definitely gone down the wrong road. And all Cameroonians, we need to go back and rethink what way forward and where the crisis is taking us. They killed the traditional ruler in Fako. This is not the first time traditional ruler is dying. Is dying within the context of this crisis. Remember, Chief Banda of Lisoka died in the captivity of the separatists. He was actually kidnapped and he died in their hands.
Yes, and another traditional ruler, renowned traditional ruler in India.
Yes, about 6 or 7 traditional rulers have been killed so far. We need the context of this crisis. Remember, Chief Esau Ito was also taken out of church and later on killed. There are several others. I want to say this pricks the conscience of all Cameroonians because it is unimaginable that somebody would first of all pull a trigger on children. I will not justify the fact that you pull a trigger on any other person. Yes. But first of all, pulling on children and women, it is unthinkable. And I want to come to say that we are in a war situation. And if combatants are falling on the battlefield will understand that those are some of the consequences of war. But when combatants, unarmed non-combatants are dying, and then we know that this thing has gone to a level where we need the intervention of God.
Yes,
in this crisis.
We have children, we have women, we have prisoners, we have kidnapping of people, we have destruction of civilian property, we have ransom, we have all those things. Those are war crimes, wherever it happens. For whatever reason, war is justified. And those are the type of things we're talking about. Now, we stay with you. You were already talking about the way forward, and that's the crux of our discussion today. How can we come out of this? That is what we are. What's the way out?
I think the first thing we have to do is the change of mentality from both parties. The change of mentality in that these separatists, the people who have taken up arms, are our brothers and sisters. We need to first of all look at them as such, even though they have become, maybe they have gone rogue. I think government needs to change the approach, the appellation given to them. They are our brothers and sisters. We need to sit down on the dialogue table and talk and resolve this crisis. Most wars have ended on the dialogue table. And if we delay the dialogue, it will keep dragging on, and more people will be dying.
Yes, let me...
So I think the military approach has to be reviewed. We need to go back to the drawing board and review the military approach. And the separatists themselves need to go back to their own drawing board and review the armed conflict approach. Is it working for them? It's definitely not working, because now Anglophones are now the victims.
When you talk of military approach from the part of government, to be very frank, I don't see what you mean. Because government cannot withdraw when people, the population...
It may not be a withdrawal per se.
Yes.
For example, there may be a ceasefire, but without withdrawing the military. Take, for example, in North Korea, in North Korea, between North Korea and South Korea, you have there's a zone between North Korea and South Korea where there is no ceasefire, but the soldiers are stationed there.
Now, okay.
But there is no ceasefire. There can be a ceasefire.
McDonough, he started talking about dialogue and the rest. We have had dialogue before. And as we were coming into the studio, I started receiving some messages. We're going to have some when Teke will come into the studio. But there is Madame D. Eunice Dem, who thinks that communication has not been well used to convince the fighters to stop. You are of the communication domain.
I have reservations about that opinion, you know, because I am aware that there has been a lot of communication, because the fighters and even those who pull the shots from abroad are well informed about what is happening, and they know the importance of putting an end to this situation. So I don't want to think that the fighters are not really aware, and government has said it over and over, even during the Grand National Dialogue, the Major National Dialogue last year. You know, there was a clarion call for them. The head of state himself has spoken in national addresses to tell the fighters, to convince them and to tell them why they should lay down their arms and reintegrate into society. So talking about the communication not being properly done to help these guys lay down their arms, I have reservations about that. And then now following up on what Tembang said.
You cannot talk about that without talking about the DDR, the
DDR, and that's one of
and the reintegration.
Exactly, and that's one of the key institutions that was created by the government, by the head of state, to create an enabling environment to welcome all of the militiamen who are willing to drop their arms and come back to normal life. And without holding any briefs for government, we've seen a number of them come out. You know, even during the Major National Dialogue, which I mentioned, there were about 50 of them who came and confessed, you know, made tear-provoking confessions about how they even got to join the fighting and armed fighting and all of that. So now you are asking about how to get out of this crisis.
Yes.
I think that's what really preoccupies us now. Every Cameroonian with a right conscience should really be thinking about how we should get out of this crisis.
Yes.
Like I said at the beginning, it's a bit complicated now, but it's not impossible.
Yes.
It's possible to get out of the crisis.
How?
By talking. Now, we have used, the state has really spent a lot resources, human and financial resources, fighting these militiamen. Like I would call them. I even have the impression we are overstretching our military for a situation that is not even an external aggression. So I think, let me land, I think that they should...
To learn,
yes,
understood, you
yes.
say they have to talk.
They have to talk.
But when you say they have to talk...
And they should talk in a particular way, not just talking.
When you say talk...
Yes,
and with particular persons.
And with particular persons.
Government says, with whom are we going to talk?
Let me
they explain why they don't see... Talking means legitimizing what's happening.
No. Talking in a situation like this is not new. If government gets into dialogue with the separatist fighters, this government will not be the first in the world to talk with people they call terrorists.
Let us now listen to an experienced person,
yes.
Professor Daniel Abwa, who is not only a political scientist, he's a historian.
I would like to say that those who talked of separation should first of all know that the founding fathers of the country have never talked of separation. Never. Even when the British government wanted them to become Nigerians, they say, no, we are Cameroonian. They decided that all the great part of their political party created in southern Cameroon began with K. That means Cameroon of German period, when Cameroon were united. If you go, you see what Mukete wrote in his My Odyssey.
Yes.
It shows how he went to Paris to meet other Cameroonians in order to build the organization of students of the whole Cameroon. They didn't call themselves neither Anglophone nor Francophone. They were calling themselves brothers of Cameroon. So the first thing to do with those who want to separate is to tell them that they have never built anything in Cameroon. And they should not break down what the other have built.
Now, you make mention of Mukete talking abroad in his Odyssey, showing how the country had to remain united. And you say neither Anglophone nor Francophone, simply Cameroonian, and you have a book
yes.
With that title, loosely translated as such.
Yes.
So when you say neither Anglophone nor Francophone, what do you mean?
I want to say that historically, the history of Cameroon didn't begin in 1916. Because the partition were decided in 1916, while all the Cameroon were under German protectorate. And all the Cameroonians were under one authority. There was no separation. Even when the separation came, the partition came, the Cameroonians refused the partition.
Now, Prof, let me ask you this. We have more than 250 ethnic groups, and that makes the force of Cameroon. When you say in your book, and you define it as neither Francophone nor Francophone, where do you keep all these different ethnic groups that identify us as one but with diversity?
No, the diversity of Cameroon is the chance of Cameroon. Because we are diverse, nobody will say, I'm not from Cameroon. We are all of us there. And you are facing something in this, your CRTV, for some time, the death of
Mireille Lambo.
I've been told that.
So rest in peace.
Yeah, I've been told that she was buried last week on Saturday at Bacham.
Bacham, yes.
Bacham in the
West region.
West region,
yes.
Considered as a French-speaking region.
Yes.
So Mireille Lambo, she's an Anglophone or an Francophone, or she belongs to the 11th region, as people used to say.
Well, we don't have an answer, but let's come back. What
I wanted to say is that we are Cameroonians. We have been colonized from 1916 by French and British.
Now, Prof, the last one, just the last question to Prof before you come in. We still have some time for you to intervene. When you try to dismiss the uniqueness of some of these groups, especially concerning this crisis that has to do with the Northwest Southwest. There is a special status officially granted to the Northwest Southwest. If the powers that be did not see that difference, they would not have created a special status.
I agree.
Then how do you then
I
defend
agree, because there were claims. There were claims of certain statutes, certain special statutes by the population of those regions. And what is interesting to take into account is that they were listening. They asked something, they listened to them, and they want to give it to them. Why don't they accept?
So it means that we can have Anglophone Cameroonians and Francophone Cameroonians.
I will never accept
Why?
that there is an Anglophone Cameroon and Francophone Cameroon, because I'm not a Francophone.
The single denominator is Cameroon.
Please,
Okay,
I'm a Cameroonian.
Yes.
I'm a French-speaking scholar, Cameroonian.
Yes.
That I agree. But I can't agree that I'm a Francophone, because a Frenchman whose language I'm using, he doesn't consider himself as a Francophone.
Now,
He considers himself as a French. The British, the English, whose language we are using, doesn't consider himself as Anglophone. Why should I consider myself?
The unity is in Cameroon. The common denominator is Cameroon.
So
not Anglophone, not Francophone.
No, because we are using this term to show a difference between us.
Okay, you are so itchy.
I think it is this attempt to kind of harmonize Cameroon into one strange mixture that is the origin of this crisis. And as Clean said, our uniqueness in Cameroon is our bicultural, bilingual nature, and it makes Cameroon unique within Africa. So in any attempt to harmonize them, dilute one maybe in favor of another, or the other in favor of the other, it is an attempt that will be more disastrous to Cameroon.
You didn't understand. Let me ask you something. When you go to Santa, which is considered as Anglophone, put it in that way, and you see near Santa Buddha, which is called Francophone, what is the difference?
There's a difference between an English-speaking Cameroonian and an Anglophone.
Okay, now that is not our...
is somebody who comes from the Northwest and Southwest region. They are English-speaking Cameroonian. Yes, an English-speaking Cameroonian can be from somebody from Kuseri who speaks English.
Solomon.
Yes,
so there's a difference. Special definition of Anglophone.
No,
somebody from the Northwest and Southwest region in the Cameroonian context.
Yes.
Anglophone in Cameroon is somebody from the Northwest and Southwest region.
Because this is part of the problem.
Yes.
This is part of the problem.
That's part of the problem. And like Prof was saying, let me just quickly say this, that the denial of these values, the narrative
is trying to push in.
Is a narrative that is being pushed by so many other people, some of which are even in government. The issue is not about being Anglophone or Francophone. We will be misdirecting the problem if we think that
I agree.
This is about the Anglophone Cameroonian or the Francophone Cameroonian.
That one I agree.
We are all Cameroonians.
Thank you.
But we are Cameroonians with each of us having our inherent specificities, which we cannot deny. Let us not skew the debate to being an issue of Francophone.
Yes, I think it was necessary to come out of that, because that's part of...
Yes, because there is a difference between an English-speaking Cameroonian and an Anglophone.
Yes.
We have to be clear on that. Because you speak English doesn't make you an Anglophone.
You have a special definition.
Within the Cameroonian context, there's a special definition.
How can we historically solve this problem today?
How can we solve the problem? First of all, we have learned in our history that we are one. Because whatever you have our differences, the approach, when we go to somebody who is near me, we have the same culture.
Yes.
We have the same language. When you go far from the others, there is difference. We agree. And I bet that's one I call the chance of Cameroon.
Yes.
Because this diversity gave us a strength.
Yes.
It's not a weakness.
Exactly.
So this situation that was brought together with by the colonial master is something we have to accept completely. And then we should not, in our history, put aside a period of our history.
Okay.
The history of Cameroon didn't begin in 1916.
Okay.
The Cameroon history went far from 1916.
How do we use that to solve this problem?
To use that to solve this problem by saying that, okay, in Cameroon we have a lot of problems.
Yes.
Those who say they are marginalized, they are not wrong. And this marginalization is not only for those of English-speaking Cameroon. We should sit down and say marginalization should be end, or you should reduce it.
Thank you, Prof.
That's my opinion, is that every country has its own problem, but they should solve the problem within the country.
Okay.
And by taking position.
Your position taken. Barrister, you have actually been silent for a moment.
What I want to say is that the living together in Cameroon has never been a problem. The problem in Cameroon is not Anglophone, Francophone. That cannot be the problem. We are just trying to deny the fact.
Okay, that is, you've made that point. How do we come out of this situation?
We've said to come out of this situation, when this issue started, there were people asking for federation, there were people asking for secession, and there were people saying that Cameroon should be one and indivisible. A united Republic of Cameroon.
You still have those positions?
We still have those positions today. The government has not listened to any of them. The government has not proposed any of them. Listen, this is what the government is doing. When they talk about federation, you bring special status. The people never ask for special status. As I said, that some people said English-speaking Cameroon ask for special status in this country. They never ask for that. Okay, have you tried any other system? This decentralization that is being put in place today, that had failed 20 years ago, that they are struggling to put in place today.
Let us say that's your opinion, because you have people who are living and they are in the English-speaking part of this country, and they are saying the special status is of good faith, and that is something that, if implemented, it will solve almost all these problems.
Well, that's what some people are saying. That's what I'm saying, that there are so many schools of thought. And what the people ask, the government proposes its own. That's how, when asked for an independent electoral commission in this country, they brought in something they call a LECAM and said it is independent electoral commission. Anything the people ask, you don't want to listen to them just because you don't want to be seen as taken from the people. You want to impose on the people your own ideas. I think that if in this country we don't want to sit on the table and talk about these issues, we are driving straight to a war.
No,
I think that
you are bringing more of problems.
No, I'm not bringing more of a problem. I'm saying that in this country we have had to negotiate with terrorists of Boko Haram that kidnap Catholic priests, but we have refused to negotiate with people who call terrorists in Northwest and Southwest. Meaning that we are saying that they are not Cameroonians. That this kind of people, we cannot talk with them, but we can talk with those up north.
Barrister, we get your position. We're asking, with this picture you're painting, which is bad, how do we come out of that?
Let's talk with the people. We have had an opportunity, this government had an opportunity to go and bring people from Nigeria to come and put in their prisons in Yaoundé. They have brought the people closer to themselves, yet they cannot talk with them. And they pretend today that they don't know who they want to talk to. Let me tell you, the Cameroon government, there is somebody that has taken oath of office in this country to protect the people of this country and their properties. And the government is not doing anything in that light yet.
Barrister, let me ask you this question. At the beginning of this program, we listened to you. You condemned with no reservation.
Yes.
What all these people are doing, the killings, the kidnappings, and the rest.
On both sides.
You condemned that. Now
I condemn killings.
We are the question we are asking here, all of us condemn, is how can we make that stop?
Let us start. I'm saying that let us start a dialogue. A dialogue is not a one-day issue. A dialogue is not something that you put 8 days and that there was a major night. It's not an event. If you make it an event, it means that you want to act a drama. What we are saying is that dialogue is a continuous issue, and the government should identify the real people to talk to, not to go and pick some people to come and stand in the major national dialogue and say they were confessing.
You say you want to react to that.
I say that they should know that separation is not a mood. The second thing I wanted to add is that when this situation happened formally, we used the complicity between the population and government. And when you don't have that complicity, you'll find people hiding the separatists and let them do what they are doing, or people encouraging them to do what they are doing.
Okay, the role of the population.
The need of complicity will be done, because in the West region, when they wanted to solve the problem, they used traditional way of life, the traditional way of solving problems. They use, for example, what they call the black dog.
Meaning, how did that happen?
The black dog were used to say that, I will tell you the truth. When I put my hand on the black dog, if I say wrong,
it will harm me.
Harm me.
Good.
And this helped people to indicate where the situation were and how they were doing. And this helped the government to handle the cases and to find people, to arrest those people and solve the problem, you know, the way of tranquility.
And these people are desecrating the very traditions on which those black dogs and the rest.
That's why the traditionalists should have to play their role.
Okay.
The role of the population.
Yeah, okay. They have to play their role in order to let peace to come back. Because what we need now is to bring peace back.
Live by the truth. That is what Prof is saying. That he has raised two important aspects.
Yes.
The role of the population and the role of the traditional rulers.
Yes, you're right. For the population, I think it's important because they really have to help in ensuring that peace comes back. And I think past experience has shown that the population has really been reluctant because of, you know, alleged atrocities carried out by the military. You know, I talk about alleged atrocities. So they have always found it, you know, they have always developed cold feet, you know, collaborating with the military, which they see as a threat to them. But I think the military has also been doing a lot to sensitize the population. They have done that a lot, you know, in campaigns have been done to ensure that, to tell the people, to build confidence in the people that they are not their enemies and that they are there to protect them from attacks, from assailants. So they should collaborate with them in order to help bring peace to their communities.
I know, just in that light, I know of areas, communities where somebody who has committed an atrocity somewhere and is running away, being chased by the military. The people block that person from passing through there, because when you pass there, the military comes, you are part of it. That is part of what we call the role of the population. Is that what they are supposed to do in order to make sure that the people who commit atrocities remain in the bushes, they don't come and hide within the community?
The problem is that the people who are fighting, those who have guns, live among the people, the communities, and they don't have uniforms. They cannot be identified. That is where it is very dangerous. And when there is an atrocity and the military wants to intervene, the military does not even know who is who. It is very paramount that the population works with the military.
Yes.
Because the military has legitimate powers to use violence in any circumstance. The problem now is, at one moment, people thought they could benefit from the protection of these armed guys. And they were running to them. They were actually protecting them at the time. When they were saying that there were alleged atrocities committed by the military, people ran to the forest, and then these armed guys were protecting them in the forest.
But now
it's as if now it has turned against the people.
Boomerang.
It has turned against the people now, and the people now have to save their heads. They must have to work with the military. The problem is that the military in this country has worked. We are not denying that they have not worked, but they have equally worked negatively. This government in place used the Cameroon military because of the disorder in Northwest and Southwest.
The government.
I'm still talking. They have the right to use the military. I'm not saying that. They have used it in Northwest and Southwest to win elections there, because they know they can only win elections in Northwest and Southwest when there is disorder, and they use the military to go and guarantee elections.
The government did not bring,
within this time.
You are talking now. You are talking now like a political
within this
leader.
time.
Listen,
the crisis
that's something else. That is something else. You are talking like a political figure. You are talking. Let me finish. You are talking like a political leader. We are not talking politics here, because without the military, you will not go to vote in a place like Northwest, Southwest.
And that's why they were used to vote in Northwest and Southwest.
And they just did what we think to be done.
Those who voted in Northwest and Southwest.
It's paramount, as Prof and Ian said, it's paramount for the population to collaborate with the military. But it's also a very complex situation. In situations where the community rises up against the separatists, but the backlash from the separatists sometimes is very devastating. Yes, it has happened.
Resilience.
It has happened in the Ngokutunja, where the community came out, marched, and denounced the separatists. And there were some images, videos of that march circulated on social media. And the next day, some of the prominent people in front of the crowd who were marching were killed.
No, so the bottom line is that
what I'm saying is that the community needs to collaborate with the military, but in a very tactful manner. If you just go outright to say no, we are against the
protection of
you know what happened in the northern part of Cameroon?
Yes, very well.
With Boko
Haram, I was there.
The population took the opportunity to save themselves by organizing themselves, not to let Boko Haram to continue to victimize them. So the need of the action of population is very
important, very crucial. Yes, it's true that Boko Haram and what's happening here, there are two different things altogether.
Coming out to clean schools ahead of the school resumption.
Yes.
The community said no, our children
cannot continue to stay at home.
And they went out to clean the schools and prepare them for school resumption.
Now let us look at it this way. It's true that it's going the way it is going. The Minister of Territorial Administration, referring to one political party, and by extension also referring to the separatist fighters, that when you shoot stones at a swarm of bees, you should expect to have consequences. Can we, following what has happened, because we have so many security missions on the field, say that the separatists who are defiant in front of what is happening have somehow shot stones at the swarm of bees?
Well, I think if you are asking the question about separatists shooting stones, or the people, the innocent people, those who are not fighting, that shot stones and they are not feeling the effect.
No, but the government.
If you are talking about separatists,
I'm talking about separatists, because when military goes out, it doesn't go out for people, it goes out for fighters.
Of course, but they end up killing even non-fighters. That's why I'm saying that the question should be put that people from Northwest and South were shooting stones at the swamp of bees.
No, that's not the question.
I may not buy your analogy.
Yeah, because that analogy is very
in total. But what I would say is that of recent there was some kind of cleanup campaign in the Northwest by the military. They started from Pinyin, Witikum, Boyo, and later on they came to Bamenda. And we saw in their missions, they were killing some of the separatist fighters, recovering their arms. But for how long without going? If
I ask that question, see where I'm going to. It is also true that your newspaper, the Guardian Post, reported this week that the Minister of Territorial Administration refuted any attempts using a state of emergency approach. But there are other Cameroonians who are calling for a state of emergency. So it's not very different from shooting stones at a swarm of bees.
He himself, who made that statement about the swarm of bees, came back to say the military, the state of emergency approach is ill-advised. So if you put one and one together, how do we get? Because it is obvious. No. I'm sure the head of state himself knows the consequences of declaring a head of state.
We're not sufficiently taking into account the character of the head of state. There is somebody who doesn't like violence. That's why he's not doing as his predecessor. Because his predecessor were really he didn't accept any disturbances. And he used the means he had to solve it. The state of emergency I was talking about were clearly decided even by the assembly and put into the Journal Officiel.
Okay, the official gazette.
Gazette. And these were clearly known by everybody that this region is under emergency. And if you tried to behave the way they don't want you to behave, you've been caught, you can be
face
killed.
the consequences.
Yes. But we have today in our head of state somebody who is trying to solve the problem smoothly. And this, we see the consequences, in fact. That's why some people are saying that it should go further and impose the state of emergency in those regions.
Okay, let us exhaust the proposals.
Yes,
how do we come out of this? Apart from all this, we have said we cannot bring in a second subject. That's why we have to extend this and phase out of the program. We don't have enough time. Let us exhaust the proposals because there are people listening to us, and I know that Cameroonians do not want what's happening in the northwest and southwest regions to continue. Yeah. Let us bring let us bring up our proposals because there's always somebody listening. We're going to start with you, Solo.
I will reiterate the ceasefire option. The government can declare a ceasefire in the northwest and southwest region, but without necessarily withdrawing the military from the region. After ceasefire, the government should call for another dialogue. This time around, not necessarily the same like the major national dialogue we had, because problems from other regions were brought in to neutralize or to water down some of the grievances that were supposed to be addressed at the major national dialogue. This time around, it should be a dialogue to resolve the crisis in the northwest and southwest region, and we should dialogue with the people who started the problem, the people who are the adversaries. We should dialogue with the separatists. We should, as the barrister said, if we could dialogue with Boko Haram militant who had kidnapped a priest and they released a priest, why not dialogue with the separatists? And I know the government bench always says, with whom are we going to dialogue? We have separatist leaders in jail here in Yaoundé. They can be dialogue with. Some time ago, it was reported that from talks, pre-dialogue talks are started between government and those separatist leaders. It should be continued. And I think if it is continued and a solution is sought on the table, then we can see an end to this crisis.
Let us concede, barrister, that happened, or there was such a thing that started. Will you still say that government has not been doing anything?
No, we are not saying that government has not been doing anything in totality. The dialogue is the major national dialogue was a welcome. We like the major national dialogue because salient issues were raised and some were resolved.
He was not even talking about that. He was talking about
the problem about dialogue is that we have decided to style some topics taboo topics. We should not put any taboo subject. We should not call any subject a taboo subject. Dialogue now with the people of Northwest and Southwest. Dialogue with the separatists.
If you were a government, will you accept to go to the table to dialogue with somebody who wants to divide the country?
No, you're only talking about somebody who wants to divide. Listen.
No,
dialogue.
The question is dialogue. Why don't you think that dialogue with the person who wants to separate the country, that dialogue can cause him not to separate?
You might educate him.
Yeah, you might
educate him to see the consequences of separate. Let me tell you, if you put a ballot box in the Northwest and Southwest, people will vote for federation in this country and not separation.
Well, until that ballot box is put, then can we talk about that?
No, I want to say that you asked for dialogue and you talked of those who are in prison.
Yes.
Remember that they consider themselves not Cameroonian. Remember it. They say that they're not Cameroonian.
But you've tried them like Cameroonian.
Sorry. They say that they are not Cameroonian.
Educate them.
If they accept that they are Cameroonians, then they can be part of discussion. How do you want to discuss of your country with somebody who is not?
Prof, I think
Why did you judge
by that, Prof, you are trying to put brakes
No,
to the
let me tell you, when you
if you want to dialogue, we should not be happy.
Let me spoil.
Yes, go ahead.
When you have caught a mercenary, do you treat him as a citizen?
Yeah.
When you have caught a mercenary.
No, you don't treat it as a citizen because it's a foreigner. It's a foreign
what I'm saying that
dialogue with his citizens.
what I'm saying that those who are in jail, let them say we are Cameroonian.
Just as the Boko Haram said they were Cameroonian for you to dialogue with them.
If we continue thinking like that, they will be stuck.
Then if they accept that they are Cameroonian, we can discuss Cameroon with them.
I'm saying that, I'm putting it that these people, you don't want to dialogue with these people because you think that they are English-speaking Cameroonian and you think that an English-speaking Cameroonian is less of a Cameroonian than a French-speaking Cameroonian. Because this country has had to dialogue with people, with terrorists worse than those in Northwest and Southwest.
Prof,
yes.
Let me, I was in the... Listen, no, that's exactly what I want to talk about.
You saw the dialogue where?
What did
there were negotiations.
Listen.
That's another thing. When you ask for ransom, do you think there's no negotiation? Even
there were negotiations between
even there, those who ask ransom, do you think there's no negotiation?
There is something I want to say by conviction. Boko Haram is a terrorist, style terrorist, collaborating with terrorists in the Middle East, terrorists around the world, and they are not Cameroonians. They were. It's a strange phenomenon that came to Cameroon. Cameroon was a victim. All of you accept with me. What's happening in Northwest and Southwest is
still a victim.
Listen, Barrister, let's accept facts and then argue as we go ahead. What's happening in Northwest and Southwest, as we said earlier, those are our brothers and sisters who are there, who are different from Boko Haram. Actually, if you say something else, then you can advance your point now.
Okay, I'm saying that these are our brothers and sisters that you have considered Cameroonians. You've accepted that they are Cameroonians, though they are terrorists. What stops us from talking with them? Not all of them have been arrested and put to Konenge, and not all of them are claiming that they are not Cameroonians. Those who are still out there claiming that they are Cameroonians. Those who are even the moderates that say they wanted the federation, have you talked with them? With whom have you talked to? No, Cameroon government, with all the means put at disposal, say they cannot identify those to talk to. You are a lawyer.
You are a lawyer by profession. And we have been saying it everywhere. Even the national dialogue, the major national dialogue, was classified as part of the process.
Yeah.
So are you just saying...
And I saw people there, English-speaking scholar.
Yes.
That major grand dialogue.
Yes.
Then, when you say
they were there. The problem with the major dialogue was that some subjects were made taboo subjects.
Yes.
Well,
the discussion of the federation was...
You are tilting the debate to something else.
No, it's not something else.
We are saying...
We want a different kind of dialogue.
No.
We want dialogue, but that it should be an inclusive. Talk with even with those who want to bury Cameroon. Talk with everybody. Let them be on the table. When you educate them, you tell them that this thing that you want to do is like this, is like that. This is the effect of what we want to do. We better put it this way. Let them propose their idea. Talk with them. By not talking with them, you know exactly where the shoe pinches.
Okay.
The solution of this problem is in the hands of this government, and they know it and they have it. The problem is that they are benefiting from what is happening in Norway and South.
No, you cannot say that. The government cannot be benefiting from this. You are stepping it too far. We say we do not suppress our emotions on Press R, but what we do on Press R is that we allow our good sense to lead our ideas and our discussions. Let your good sense, especially as a barrister, as a man of law, direct your arguments. Yes.
Okay. Now
the way out.
Okay, the way out. I think I will not say anything different from what they have said. It's about talking. We are wasted a lot of resources. A lot of money on the military operations and on things that have really not really helped in solving this problem. Nobody is saying that. When I hear some government officials say that people are claiming government has actually not done anything. Nobody is saying that. But how does you talk about the special status?
Because that will not be correct.
That will not even be correct. Government has done a lot, but the ultimate goal is for us to have this crisis resolved and for peace to return. You talked about the special status. How does the special status end fighting in Akwaya, for instance, or in the forest of Manfi? How does special status do that?
No,
so I think the issue is for us. I think it's my turn.
We don't have enough time.
Yeah, so I think there should be dialogue, and unlike what Prof is saying, I think it's a dangerous precedent for any effort aimed at having the kind of inclusive dialogue that we require to end this crisis. We shouldn't preset conditions before the dialogue.
You have the last word.
Okay, let's talk of dialogue. When you want to dialogue, there is spirit of dialogue.
Yes.
The spirit of dialogue is that I listen to you, listen to me. But when you come with your point, you say, this is my point. If you don't do that, you no more.
No,
you no more dialoguing.
Excuse, let him end.
You are no more.
Let him end.
You are no more. You are no more. You are no more. You are no more dialoguing. You are making the monologue. If we want to dialogue, let us bring our point of view. Accept that. Okay, I've said that I don't want. This is taboo. That's my position. You say, okay, let's discuss that your position. When you say we don't discuss that kind of position, we're not more dialoguing.
Thank you very much. That's where we end it. No, McDonald, Solomon, McDonald.
Let's discuss that exception.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Why don't we discuss that separation?
We got that. We think that was the last word. That was the last word on this program today. We want to thank you very much, McDonald, Professor Daniel Wa, Barrister Tandango, Calvin, Solomon Tembang. Thank you very much for coming. The debate was hot. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving us your time. If you met us halfway in a program, you can watch a rebroadcast on Monday by 3 p.m. or you just simply, wherever you are, you stream live on CRTV web, Facebook, and you will follow this program. Thank you once again and have a nice day.
Les autorités locales se sont mis au travail. Il y a pas mal de choses qu'on n'a pas attendu au pouvoir central de faire.
On avait pris notre cash flow, on a remis aux étrangers. Maintenant, c'est notre cash flow. Ça entre dans les caisses de l'État.
Ce glissement de date aussi devait entraîner un glissement de pression même financière.
Et si à chaque fois qu'on veut le relever, certains pensent que non, c'est parce qu'on n'aime pas le Cameroun, ce n'est pas vrai.
On a le défi d'organiser la CAN, mais on a aussi un défi de rentabilité, on a un défi de vendre l'image du Cameroun.
Scène de presse, c'est votre plateforme de débat dominicale sur la CRTV avec des invités de choix qui croisent le verbe en toute liberté. Prenez rendez-vous tous les dimanches après le téléjournal en langue française.
I absolutely love Sundays because it's the moment when you can relax, think over your week, and most importantly, have wonderful conversations with interesting people. You are welcome to Tam Tam Weekend on CRTV. I am Mbella Patience Famnia. I'm not alone. I'm with Ifo. How are you doing today?
Je pense que je vais très bien.
Yes.
Je me porte très bien parce que voilà, je te retrouve et ça fait plaisir d'être là et d'avoir des personnes aussi sympathiques à la maison qui vont permettre aux téléspectateurs et à nous-mêmes de passer des moments très agréables sur les antennes de la CRTV pour une autre édition de Tam Tam Weekend. On va dire que c'est la deuxième édition de ce mois de novembre parce que nous sommes le 8 novembre 2020.
Absolutely. I just want to say a big thank you. You could be doing anything this Sunday, but you've chosen to watch us and we'll definitely not disappoint you. On the show today, we're going to talk to a Manu lady who lives in London and she loves Makossa. She'll be telling us all about her journey in music. Also, part of the program, there'll be a lot of comedy. His comedy is particular, Ivo, because he talks about the realities of the country. That's why it's so funny. You discover who it is as well. But then when we talk about Makossa in the country and we don't mention this music icon, then there is really a gap to be filled because he does not only practice music, he studied it, so he knows the details of it. But we have royalty in the house. Puts a smile on my face because when you see him at first decked in his suit, he talks about the National Employment Fund. But when he's decked like he is today, in all his traditional regalia, you know that it's time for the BAM Art Festival. We have a traditional chief with us and Ivo will give you the details.
Ah oui, c'est très important. Merci pour cette brillante présentation de l'ensemble de nos invités qui sont à la maison. Alors, ils sont déjà 3 dans ce studio, dans cette maison. On a bien sûr Monsieur Sam Bende qui est avec nous, avec qui on passera des moments très agréables, on l'imagine. Et tu aimes particulièrement la chanson Gloria, ça tu me l'as dit.
Oh yes, I love it. Will he be performing it today?
Oui, oui, il y aura Gloria, forcément.
Fantastic.
Oui, c'est important de le savoir. Et on a Kaiser Show également qui sera des nôtres, donc lui qui apportera une note, j'allais dire une touche d'humour à cette édition de Tam Tam Weekend dans son style, bien sûr, qu'on connaît, et puis avec des innovations, parce qu'il faut dire que c'est l'un des humoristes camerounais qui crée le plus et qui s'adapte à l'environnement et qui évolue avec son époque, ça il faut le dire. Et bien sûr, tu as parlé d'une majesté qui nous fait honneur, et au-delà du fait qu'il soit le directeur général du Fonds national de l'emploi, on va dire que c'est une personnalité bien connue dans le monde culturel, notamment lors du festival BAM Art, dont il est bien sûr le président exécutif de l'association BAM Art and Development, c'est important de le savoir. Et il était d'ailleurs présent hier au Palais de Congrès de Yaoundé au cours d'une cérémonie qui célébrait en quelque sorte l'Ongwon, qui a pour ambition et pour vocation, bien sûr, d'être reconnu par l'UNESCO comme une entité culturelle très importante de l'humanité. Donc c'est très important de savoir que nous aurons